is with technological innovations have had the greatest impact and the empowerment of nations and people in Africa?
So, all of the people that spoke here talked about that in 2050, there are going to be 2.5 billion people in Africa. But this is not going to be a step function. This is going to be a gradual increase in the number of people, also in the number of people that live in urban areas. Now you need to ask yourself, if there are going to be 1.2 billion people that are going to be young, what is the future that you want to have for these people? Do you want to give them the opportunity to live life for the fullest, to live life that is enjoyable, that they get proper education, that they get gainful employment, they can build families? And I think that the challenge is so big, and personally we think at the Mitrelli Group that probably the way to move forward is to harness innovation in every project. Make it the centerpiece of each project. And I'll give you a few examples. When you're building and constructing a new school, this is not about 4 walls, 30 chairs, 30 desks, and a blackboard. You need to provide the students the opportunity to get proper education, not just to come to school, but to gain education. If you're talking about food security, which is a huge challenge in Africa, 250 million people go to sleep hungry every night. When you're looking at the productivity and the yield in Africa, it is well below the standards. I'm coming from Israel. We are a Swiss company, but I grew up in Israel. And in Israel, the yield is 5 to 10 times higher than what it is in Africa. Now you need to ask yourself, if I need to feed 1.2 additional billion people, how will I do it? And I think that you need to look at machinery, you need to look at smart irrigation, smart fertilization, you need to look at machineries, you need to look at training, you need to look at the right seeds, you need to look at the distribution and logistics. This calls for innovation. If you look at healthcare, we are constructing 350 clinics in this country, here. The way to get the proper value from these clinics is to embed and integrate telemedicine, management systems, training for the nurses and the doctors. This is the way to make the leap forward.
Data management also.
That's a management. That's a vision, and that's an action plan that calls upon governments, upon financial institutions, upon the private sector to move Africa forward where it needs to be. To us, in Mitrelli, Africa represents the future.
Nice. The continents, actually, you're talking about the continent for sure. The continent's development opportunities are being threatened by the multiple crises and that are shaking the continent. How can we cope with them and better anticipate these instabilities?
So it was very hard for me to hear the question. Can you repeat that, please?
Yes, no, the question is how you manage the instabilities with the polycrisis in this continent. How you face that?
I think we see a more stable continent. We see more democratic, activities, more regular, elections. We believe that we see a better, stable economy. It is a challenging economy. However, we believe that together with these governments and the right mechanisms, we see the opportunity to really make the change. We are here to help make the change, and I'm optimistic about that.
We talk about champions, African champions, and the multiplication of the African champion is one of these of this edition topics. The support provided in Angola or in Côte d'Ivoire is a very interesting, successful case. What are the keys to this success, and how can this model be duplicated and replicated?
So whenever there is a project, it needs to fulfill 3 pillars that needs to be fulfilled. The first one is to identify the real problem. The second one is to come with a customized solution that is appropriate for the problem. And the problem in Angola is not similar to the problem in Ivory Coast, in Senegal, or in Uganda. But the third component is the financing. And this is where I see the challenge. We are talking today about projects that are needed today, but they will be fulfilled in 5 to 10 years. And that's the huge problem. And the huge problem is rising and stemming from the financing model. We need to be much faster. We need to act rapidly. We need to do the right things in order to find the right models that will enable the governments to move. And I'll give you an example. The 2.5 billion people that everybody is talking in this forum, in 2050, it's not going to be a step function. Every year, there are going to be 30 million people moving to urban areas. Every year, there are going to be between 40 to 45 million new people in this continent. The answers need to be today. And I think this calls for a major change in the process, make it quicker, make it much more effective for the government and for the private sector.
Sure, both. And do you have a chance to meet a lot of people, meaning really want to involve and collaborate? This is your first edition, actually.
Yes.
And how is the connection? How you create this connection?
I believe that, I looked at the app, the amazing app that you developed. It created, a list of people. Yes, it's innovation, definitely. Innovation doesn't need to be, specific. It's in everything. Even the mindset needs to be innovative. So I created for myself the list of people that I would be interested in getting to know. Accidentally I met, amazing people that I didn't know. They sat by me, at the dinner, and I believe there will be many follow-ups to the meetings and the quick acquaintances that I was able to create here. I believe it's for myself and for the company and for the good of Africa.
Sure. Talking about global topics, I would like to talk a little bit about the food insecurity who affect the poverty line in Africa. What are the solutions to move the continent towards sustainable prosperity for you?
So if you look at the challenges, the way we look at them at Mitrelli, there are many challenges. I believe that the top one is food security. Why? If people go to bed hungry, they don't think about anything else. They want to feed their children. They want to go to sleep, well fed. So I believe that food security needs to be the number one priority. I participated in an event in Dakar in January. I believe that it was identified by all the leaders that attended the event as a crisis in Africa. Now the solution lies in technology and innovation, I have to say. Because if you want to grow the yield, if you want to improve the logistics, you know that 50% of the products that are in the field never go to the market because they get rotten on the way. Because there are no packaging, no refrigeration, no good logistic line between the field and the farm to the market. And there are many, many ways to solve it. And some of them are easy to solve. Some of them are, to have greenhouses. Some of them to have smart irrigation. I come from Israel. In Israel, we are recycling 80% of the water back to agriculture, the wastewater. 80% of the water is being recycled. I grew up in a country that many years back when I was a child, the saying was we have to save every drop. There was no water. Today, we are exporting water. We are exporting because we did desalination, because 85% of the water today in Israel is desalinated, because we are using salty water to grow tomatoes, because we have smart irrigation, because we are spending and putting investments into R&D of agriculture. But it doesn't stop at agriculture. I believe that agriculture is part of the solution for food security. Food security is alternative protein. It's about factories. It's about getting Africa higher in the value chain. This country where we are sitting today is the largest grower of cocoa. But if you look at the proportion of what is the value that is created for Ivory Coast in the value chain of creating chocolate, it's very low. Now, Ivory Coast must go up in the value chain, but this requires education. This requires factories. This requires investments. I believe that the leaders of this country have the right vision, have the right attitude, and the right ability to make it. We are there if they want us to help.
And the question, a very simple question. You talk about even innovation, education, training.
Yes.
So sometimes we like to bring innovation from outside.
No.
But when you have a problem, you have to train people to say, okay, in front of this situation, you have to have innovative act
Yes.
and reaction. How can you bring this also behavior?
So we are 2,500 people strong. Close to 2,300 people are local. We believe that we don't master the know-how, we don't master the knowledge. We need to act as a bridge. The locals need to grow and to be the leaders, the future leaders of this continent. That's the way the continent will prosper. We are here to provide and assist with training. You know, let's talk about teachers and doctors and nurses. If you look at the ratio of nurses and doctors to the population, it is very low.
Yeah.
But I think it's the highest that will be in the coming decades. You know why? Because the population growth is much faster than the rate of getting graduates from these schools. So you think, what is the solution? I believe that the solution is a blended solution of 3 or 4 pillars. The first one is to grow the number of doctors, and this is about schools and 7 years. There is a way to improve the productivity of each doctor that you have. Make sure that in the 9 hours that they work, they will be able to get more done. The third one is to provide training, reskilling and upskilling. And the fourth one is to integrate technology that will enable telemedicine, that will enable, you know, easier diagnosis than you know, the manual way. Integrate AI. AI is an opportunity.
People are a little bit afraid here in Africa. So how can we balance that? Because the AI is an answer actually for this.
For the lack of resources.
Absolutely.
I agree. First, I study a lot about AI. We believe it can be a great tool for the future of Africa. But it needs to be balanced. It needs to be balanced between the risks and the opportunities. There needs to be regulation regarding what is available and what can be done with AI. But if you look at the bright side of AI, it can really help mitigate the shortage of resources that are so needed in this continent. And you know, I spent most of my life, my career, in the technology space. And I was fortunate to create and develop, you know, solutions that changed the way you communicate. For example, SMS. I'm Mr. SMS. I'm
Really?
Mr. Voicemail.
Really?
Yes.
Can you have a picture with that?
Yes, we can.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
So I came from the world of innovation.
Okay.
I came from a world that I needed to be the first to market. I needed to create the products that will influence the lives of millions faster than my competition. I believe that this is needed also in all of the projects that we outlined, in urban areas, in rural areas, in water, in education, in energy, in food security, healthcare. We can embed much more innovation that will help transform Africa. This is what we want to do. This is our mission. This is our passion. You can hear me.
Sure.
And I believe that, you know, the Mitrelli Group has been a very good partner to Africa in the last decade. I really look forward for the next 10 years to be even a stronger partner to Africa. Hopefully, with the integration and being able to embed much more innovation to every project, every solution, and every need of this continent.
Okay. Talking about the Africa CEO Forum is the first time. This is
Yes.
the 9th edition. How you heard about this event? Because the idea also is to promote the business, the private sector, and to present to the world the dynamic of the African business sector. How you heard about it the first time?
So, you know, my colleague working with me attended the event last year, and she said, Yaron, we are missing something. It's a great opportunity to hear, to learn, and to maybe to influence. So I participated in a few panels and roundtables. But I believe the most important thing for me from this event, you know, the theme of this event, if you recall, it's 300 to 3,000.
Yes.
Now, I've been thinking about this theme. And when I thought about it, 300 companies have thousands and maybe tens of thousands of employees. 3,000 companies will require many more talented, educated employees. I believe that the investment in education will enable this transformation to happen. The 300 can be 30,000, not just 3,000. And the way to do it is to invest in education, not in the classroom, not the four walls, e-education, training of the trainers, putting virtual universities, virtual training, vocational training. You know, in Senegal, we're building 23 vocational training centers. They are going to get to the market 30,000 graduates a year. This will help transform Senegal into a strong, robust economy. That's the way to do it. Invest in education. If you ask me, that's the best return on every dollar that you put in this country or in the continent itself.
Wow. First time for you, you heard about last year?
Yes.
If I'm right, yesterday during the awards, your group, your company was nominated as a local impact champion.
Yes.
What do you think about the evening yesterday? And
so you know, we were very humbled and very proud at the same time to be a nominee for this precious and you know, important reward and award. And you know, it is a result. I'm standing here with you, but it's a hard work of so many people at Mitrelli, working night and day, men and women, to make realization of our vision of improving the quality of life of people. We were very proud that our hard work was recognized and we were a nominee. We didn't win, but winning is not the issue.
Exactly.
We are still 100% committed to the same vision and the realization of this vision, regardless of winning or not winning the award. We are here to stay. We have done you know, 2 weeks ago, we did an amazing event in Israel, celebrating our 10 year of impact in Africa. We are here to make the 20th year anniversary and the 30th year's anniversary in Africa. Our company is 100% committed to Africa. We don't have business outside of Africa. Since we wake up in the morning until we retire to sleep every night, I'm thinking about one thing, and this is Africa. How can we improve the quality of life of the people here? How can we partner with local companies, with remote companies, with visionary leaders, with local leaders, make this transformation happen?
This time is for Africa, is what they say.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yaron TCHWELLA.
Well, thank you very much.
CEO of Mitrelli Group. Thank you to be here, and for sure, maybe next time for the Africa CEO Forum 2020.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Pleasure, my pleasure. Merci beaucoup. J'espère que vous avez apprécié notre échange avec Monsieur Yaron TCHWELLA, qui est CEO donc de Mitrelli Group et qui a été nominé hier donc parmi Local Impact Corporation ou entreprise. Excusez-moi, j'ai pas le bon titre, mais champion. Voilà, c'est le mot qui me manquait. On se retrouve donc pour nos autres entrevues et toujours bien entendu, on revient sur cet hashtag parce que nous avons beaucoup de réactions. N'hésitez pas à poser vos questions d'ailleurs en utilisant le hashtag ACF 2023 et on se retrouve dans quelques instants. Merci.